नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो हि भद्राणि विधुनोति श्रुहत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमः श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, verses 6 through 9. Ragyamritam karadana dandashulkadidarunam manyamano dirghasatra vyajena visasarjaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Whenever Antardan, the supreme royal power, had to exact taxes, punish citizens, or fine them severely, he was not willing to do so. Consequently, he retired from the execution of such duties and engaged himself in the performance of different sacrifices. Purport. It is clear herein that the king sometimes has to perform duties which are not very desirable, just because he is the king. Similarly, Arjun was not at all willing to fight because fighting or killing his own kinsmen and family members is not at all desirable. Nonetheless, the Kshatriyas had to perform such undesirable actions as a matter of duty. Maharaj Antardan was not very happy while exacting taxes or punishing the citizens for their criminal activities. Therefore, on the plea of performing sacrifices, he retired the royal majestic power at a very early age. Tatrapi hamsam purusham paramatmanamaatmadrik yajam stallokatamapa kushalena samadhina. Translation. Although Maharaj Antardan was engaged in performing sacrifices, because he was a self-realized soul, he very intelligently rendered devotional service to the Lord, who eradicates all the fears of his devotees. By thus worshipping the Supreme Lord, Maharaj Antardan, wrapped in ecstasy, attained his planet very easily. Purport. Since sacrifices are generally performed by fruitive actors, it is especially mentioned here that although Maharaj Antardan was externally engaged in performing sacrifices, his real business was rendering devotional service by hearing and chanting. In other words, he was performing the usual sacrifices by the method of Sankirtana Yagya, as recommended herein. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Bhagavad Gita 7.5.23. Devotional service is called Kirtana Yagya, and by practicing the Sankirtana Yagya, one is very easily elevated to the planet where the Supreme Lord resides. Out of the 5 kinds of liberation, achieving the same planet where the Lord resides and living entities with the Lord, there is called Salokya liberation. Avirdana Virdhani Vidurasuta Satsutan Varishadam Kayam Shuklam Krishnam Satyam Jita Vritam. Translation. Havirdana, the son of Maharaj Antardan, had a wife named Havirdani, who gave birth to 6 sons named Varishad, Gaya, Shukla, Krishna, Satya, and Jitavrita. Varishatsu Mahabhago Havirdani Prajapati Kriyakandeshu Nishnato Yogeshu Cha Kurudvaha. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, Havirdan's very powerful son named Barishat was very expert in performing various kinds of fruit sacrifices, and he was also expert in the practice of mystic yoga. By his great qualifications, he became known as Prajapati. Purport. In the beginning of the creation, there were not many living entities, and consequently, the very powerful living entities or demigods were appointed as Prajapatis in order to beget children and increase the population. There are many Prajapatis. Brahma, Daksha, and Manu are sometimes known as Prajapatis, and Barishat, the son of Havirdan, became one of them. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Today's verses are simply discussing the core idea, duty, or dharma. Everyone has duties, from the highest king to the simplest householder. These duties must be done, even if they're boring or unpleasant. Life is full of responsibilities. Think of a garden that needs constant care, weeding and watering. Our lives are similar, requiring continuous effort. And often we don't want to do these things. As kids who liked, as kids like who like brushing their teeth or doing homework. As adults, cleaning the house or tough work tasks can feel like a chore. Why do we resist? It's often due to ignorance, laziness, or just plain lack of enthusiasm. We ask, why me? Or do I have to do it? This is the mind's way of trying to avoid effort. But these everyday tasks aren't random, they're the foundation of society. The Vedic system, Varnashrama Dharma, is designed to help everyone live a good life, and these duties are a key part of that. Consider a king. His job is to protect his people, even if it means punishing wrongdoers. It's not a fun task. Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita didn't want to fight his relatives. He saw them as family. These people aren't heartless, they're just fulfilling their roles within a system. Just like a parent disciplines a child, um, do they enjoy it? No, but you have to for the child's good. To avoid responsibility by saying it's too hard, I'll just chant Hare Krishna, would show a lack of wisdom. A leader must lead, a parent must guide. We perform these difficult duties because we understand they're essential for order and well being. The idea of duty also deeply applies to our spiritual journey. Spiritual life comes with guidelines and rules. Our love for Krishna, called bhakti, is naturally present in our heart like a seed. It's something we create, it's not something we create, but something we awaken by hearing and chanting. These rules are like the water and sunlight for that seed. Do we always like them? Getting up early for morning prayers or Mangala Arati when it's cold? Maybe not always, but we know that this early morning time, chanting our beads or japa and studying Srila Prabhupada's books helps awaken our love for Krishna. Think of a train. It's meant to run on tracks, and without tracks, it goes nowhere. Similarly, we need rules and regulations to get our bhakti started. Our devotion is there, but it needs a push. And the process of sadhana bhakti is that push. It gives us the guidance we need, and accepting these practices, even the austere ones, is part of the path. Now let's look at Maharaj Antardan. He retired from being king very early to fully focus on spiritual practices or bhajan. And you might think, was he being irresponsible? But Srila Prabhupada explains that Maharaj Antardan was a very advanced devotee. He cared more for his spiritual practices than his worldly duties. This is a sign of a high-level devotee. When one truly chants Hare Krishna, material desires naturally decrease. We still go to work and pay bills, but our purpose changes. We do it for Krishna's pleasure, offering the results to him. This is karma yoga, acting without attachment to the outcome. As we progress, thinking of Krishna and serving him becomes so natural that the need to offer results diminishes. The sheer joy of performing bhakti becomes enough. This is a higher form of detachment. Maharaj Antardan, being so advanced, no longer needed to be a king. His duty became pure absorption in Krishna. He responsibly passed his kingdom to his son, knowing his highest calling was direct service to God. Even Srila Prabhupada managed a huge organization and even disciplined his disciples, even though he often wished to just translate books. His sense of duty to his students and the mission always brought him back to managing. This commitment to duty for Krishna's pleasure is a key quality of a devotee. So, how do we find our own path? How do we balance our worldly duties with spiritual goals? This is where the wisdom of the Vedic system and our spiritual teachers comes in handy. We consider our natural abilities, how detached we are in our stage of life. For example, a student or brahmachari learns and practices celibacy. A householder or grahastha raises a family and works. A retired person or person in a vanprasashram gradually detaches from worldly life, and a completely renounced person or sannyasi dedicates fully to spiritual life. These stages are guides, not rigid rules. They help us naturally become more detached and focused on Krishna. The beauty of bhakti is that it's for everyone. Regardless of our background, we're all encouraged to practice early morning devotion, attending Mangalarti, chanting Hare Krishna, worshiping the deity, and studying scriptures. These are the basic purifying activities. Then, for the rest of the day, depending on our nature and how much we've detached, we do our daily work. Always remembering Krishna. Some may serve Krishna directly, full time, relying completely on him, and others will work and offer the results of the efforts to Krishna. This is the balance. We're encouraged to chant Hare Krishna and be happy. It's a journey of purification. We might struggle or slip sometimes, but if we keep at it, we'll eventually feel so inspired that our greatest joy will be simply serving Krishna and not asking for anything in return, just doing it because it pleases him and brings us deep satisfaction. Ultimately, the goal is to be completely absorbed in Krishna, where our duty becomes simply to serve him at every moment. Maharaj Antardan is an example of such a soul. By following in the footsteps of great devotees, by performing our duties diligently, both worldly and spiritual, and by continuously growing our love for Krishna, we too can achieve this ultimate perfection in life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.